Hashtag Reselling Squad, eBay Resellers, Poshmark, MERCARI, Liquidation Fashion Consultants. That sounds good. That's going to go on my business card. Thrifters, Upcyclers, all the people that sell used clothes. This is for you. I have a message for you, a call to action. Call this a reselling evangelism. I'm going to talk about a certain market within the American population that is very, very underrepresented in the reselling community of used clothing. This market needs us. They need us. Thus the call to action to help and serve them. As a community, we will unite. Right? That sounds good, huh? So, I am talking about a community that is comprised of 19% of the U.S. population, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. It's like really real. I'm not faking it. This community needs fashion, needs to feel beautiful, needs to feel included. This group is highly underrepresented. I'm looking at fashion dictionaries of all kinds, and their specific types of clothing is not included. So they are excluded out of the fashion realm, and they're 19% of the population. I think it's a travesty. It is something we have to deal with. If you kind of want to, and you want to look into it and research it kind of with me, if you want to, I think there's a great opportunity in this retail segment. Shame on us, I say. Shame on us. We need to change that now. Are you ready to find out what it is? Are you ready? Any guesses what I am talking about? Plus size is a clothing segment that is well represented. Much better than it used to be, but it's well represented. The petites, they have their clothing and they have access to beautiful fashion and style. But these people, they do not. I also want to call upon the seamstresses in the reselling community, the upcyclers, the tailors, whatever all those people are that can augment clothing, change seams and whatnot, blah, blah, blah. I call upon you to help us. Greetings and salutations, YouTubeville. This is Anna, aka Boondoggle Bliss, used fashion liquidation consultant. That sounds pretty good. Anyway, what am I talking about? What the heck was that all about? I am talking about adaptive fashion. Fashion that is coined adaptive because it adapts to the need of the community. And I am talking about the differently abled community. So all the people in wheelchairs, all the elderly people with, arthritis that requires special magnetic closures, or just they basically can't put it over their head, so they have shirts that have they're cut in the back with magnetic buttons so they can just put it in and snap it in the back. I'm talking about kids with Parkinson's. I'm talking about kids with, missing limbs and muscular, what is it called? Dystrophy. All the kids that need a special, more customized clothing option for them to feel, independent, like they can put it on. Second, just have dignity and be fashionable. What prompted this, I actually started hearing about it last year when Tommy Hilfiger did a kids line. I think it was kids line that I heard about for adaptive clothing. And then I saw at Target that Cat and Jack, their house brand, has some adaptive clothing for kids. And then what else? Oh, and then I saw a niche boutique in Canada that caters to nice fashion for women and men in wheelchairs. So all of that has been kind of sitting in my brain. And then just yesterday, I heard on NPR a story that just like pushed me to the point where I decided I'm really going to talk about it. I'm going to include the link to the NPR story down below, and I thought it was just fantastic. The link will give you an article if you just want to quickly scan it, or you can click on the link to hear the same story, news story that I heard. I started to look how available is that clothing in the secondhand market. And I noticed very little is available. I went to eBay first, thinking that eBay would have, you know, if I searched adaptable clothing, if I searched all those keywords that I researched and written down, that I would get tons of things. And as a matter of fact, I didn't, okay? And then I have a friend who has a sister with Parkinson's, and I picked her brain on this whole topic. They're actually willing to pay more to get more fashionable clothing, to get customized clothing, to get upcycled clothing, to get clothing that makes them feel human and included. Because she showed me this website called Silverton. I think it was Silverton. I'm going to include it in here as I'm talking. That shows the options she has from a adaptive clothing perspective, and I gotta tell you, that stuff is yes, it is functional. Yes, it is offered in a variety of colors, but that's where it ends. Okay. And then she told me about the little things that can be done to amend the clothing to make them adaptive. You can take a beautiful top, cut it in the back, you know, do a little pleat, seam, whatever, add a few magnetic closures, and you now have a adaptive piece of apparel from, let's say, I don't know, Michael Kors, Zara, that has been upcycled to meet the needs of that person. They're willing to pay top dollar for that because they don't have access to that. So I guess my call to action is, number one, if you come across that clothing in a thrift store, in a estate sale, or wherever you are, and it looks kind of funky, and normally you would have just like put it to the side and be like, ew, I don't know what that is, that's kind of funky. I want you to look at it twice. Look at it again. Is it actually a amended attire to meet the needs of someone with special needs? Or is it manufactured that way? And then look at the brand. There's only a few brands that produce that type of clothing, but just look at it more closely, because you could be sitting on money. You could be sitting on money, and you know, there's dual benefit. They get the clothing they want, and you get the profits that you might not have gotten otherwise if you just passed it over and picked out that, I don't know, that Topshop top, which is going to get you $16 on Poshmark. You could be getting that and getting $45, $60 on eBay. So that's call to action number one. Call to action number two. If you know of any seamstresses, if you know of people who are looking for projects, people who are wanting to sink their teeth into potential business venture where you can maybe create an eBay store with upcycled adaptive clothing, that's definitely an idea worth looking into. There's some statistics on the web on the internet, but I'll tell you right now, if you go into Google and type in used adaptive clothing, you're gonna get zero results. There's not anyone that specializes in that. You're gonna find some niche boutiques that tailor to that customer base, but they do not have upcycled used fashion apparel for the differently abled community. And so that's my call to action number two. And call to action number three is pure awareness and recognition of this underserved community. Now, within that community, we can chop it up into segments. And there's actually, I'll show you while I'm talking. a Silverton breakdown by need. You can segment the clothing by the needs of the people and the types of disabilities they have. I love this video. It shows a young man going to a store to look for a professional shirt, and it happens so they have adaptive fashion. Look at the smile on his face, the pride in his face that he was able to do it. Think of people needing to go to work and needing nice business clothes. It's not easy to, you know, to look fashionable and yet have the functionality you need. So that's one segment, just the adult business group. And then that's a huge thing, because kids want to be included. They don't want to stand out. They want to feel like part of the, you know, the rest of the group. And actually, if you look at this, there's this thing called, and I have notes on here, Runway of Dreams. They focus on inclusion and advocate acceptance in the fashion industry. They spread awareness through campaigns and partnerships and offer education like their adaptive design workshop. They have a fashion show also that empowers people with disabilities by providing them opportunities, confidence, independence, and style. Some fashion lines are listening, but there's still such a huge void. If you're hearing about this for the first time, that's that. Okay, so let me show you some of the sites I was looking at when I was looking for information. And this is Silverts, which is what I mentioned to you before. And they have a breakdown of clothing by need, which I found this to be extremely interesting, because if you come across a piece of clothing that you want to sell on eBay, you want to be using the terms and specifying which needs this clothing item would be good for. So this is a great resource for you guys if you're going to look into this. Save this website. There's another one called Endless Ability, and they have a lot of information, and I thought it was really inspirational. There's a little movie in here, and it's more hipper, more cool stuff is on there. J-Line Fashion I found to be really cool, and there's a lot of focus on people in wheelchairs and like the side zippers and a lot of Velcro, magnetic clasping, yada yada yada. And then if you go to adapted clothing on Google, where is it? Let's go on Amazon, and I want to show you something. Let's say just a standard pair of pants. They're ugly. They're really ugly. And I feel bad that the options that are available are so caca. Really? This is all you have? So if I'm like a 23-year-old, I wish, 23-year-old with a disability, and I go on Amazon to find clothes, these are my options. That's not cool. That is not cool at all. I mean, really? I understand that this meets the need, but where's some embroidery and some semi-sheer overlays and some nice color? And yeah, this is not good. So we owe it to this segment to bring some fashion to them. Don't you agree? I certainly agree. So what's in this for you if you look into this? Well, first and foremost is awareness that there is a need and demand. And then also with that, leading into the second point, the terminology that will help you sell certain items should you come across them. It's possible you've come across this clothing and you did not think much of it and passed it. And you could have sold it and not only met your need, obviously, of making money, but also meet the need of the group that is in need of that type of clothing. The third being bring style option ideas to an underserved group. I think there are many upcyclers and seamstresses and tailors out there that can take clothing that already exists and with just some little alteration could make this clothing marketable to that group. So spreading the awareness and then bringing ideas to the forefront. Of course, for you as a reseller, you're going to be making money. And fifth, my favorite, it will make you feel good because this is an area to feel good about. I'm telling you, there's money to be made in this line of clothing. Are you with me? Are you with me? It's not what you can do for your reselling community. It's what your reselling community can do for you. I don't think that applies, but you know, it sounds good. Whatever. All right. Toodles. Greetings and salutations. Love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Leave me a note below if you found this topic interesting. Ciao.